This semester we learned about Google Chrome extensions. The extensions are a small software program that customize the browsing experience. They enable users to tailor Chrome functionally and the behavior to individual needs or preferences of the user. Some examples we learned were Clip Converter, Grammarly, Screencastify, TweetDeck, MakeGIF, and many more. Following this, we learned about audiovisual technology. It is clear that audiovisual aids are important tools for teaching and through the learning process. It helps the teacher to present the lesson effectively, and the students can learn and retain the concepts better for a longer duration. The use of audiovisual aids can improve students' critical thinking, analytical thinking, and engagement. My first memories of audiovisual technologies was simply when a teacher would bring out the TV cart. We knew we were in for a real treat watching an educational video. Now that we see things transition, we see that teachers are bringing in Skype. So there is Mystery Skype, Skype in the classroom, and then this is transitioned into smartboards in the classroom, the use of overhead projectors, and we are starting to see teachers using FM systems. And when we're working with students who are deaf or hard of hearing, we might notice that students might struggle to hear in the presence of background noise, even while wearing hearing aids. Hearing assistive technologies are a means of addressing this issue so that all students hear and learn effectively. Next, we learned about productivity and presentation tools. The group that presented on these different options gave a great overview of the benefits of both. For me, I rely on Google Chrome because of Google Docs, Google Classroom, and Google Read and Write. Next, I will show you an example of how it is relevant to my classroom, and some of my students will show you an example of how they use Google Read and Write every day.
We use our technology for typing and listening to documents that are on the computer. We also use it so we can read books and other textbooks that are on the computer.
Most of the schoolwork that we do is on the computer, but if it's not, the teacher will scan it and they will put it onto the computer and send it to us so it's easier.
Now, we're going to look at Web 1.0 and Web 2.0. To begin, Web 1.0 had various websites, but they were static. They contained information that might be useful, but there was no reason for the visitor to return to the site later. An example would be a personal web page that gives information about the site's owner, but it never changes. A Web 2.0 version might be a blog or a MySpace account where the owners can frequently update and their viewers can interact with them by leaving comments on their site. Examples of Web 2.0 include social networking and various types of social media. For example, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook. It also included blogging and being able to tag keywords on your website with a variety of links that could take you to other sources of information as well. Now we must think, where do we go next? Personally, I think it's very important to understand the students who are in my classroom who I have contact with every day. What types of social media are they interacting with? Do they know how to be safe and secure online? Do they know how to access information appropriately? And how might they need my support to navigate through this challenging world? Online resources are very relevant in my students' lives. Throughout grade 8, I teach my students how to search for information while documenting the websites they've used, citing things properly, and avoiding plagiarism. I encourage them to use technology to complete all of their assignments. For example, right now we are researching the United Nations 17 global goals. In groups, they will choose one goal they want to try to eradicate. In their groups, they will come up with an action plan that they can follow through with, and while they're doing their research, they're going to document their learning in whatever format they choose. Some groups are making informative videos, while others are making informational PowerPoint presentations. I think anytime we use technology, it is also important that we give students choice in how they want to summarize their learning. Currently, the 3 assessment technologies I use most are Kahoot, Mentimeter, and Google Classroom. Socrative is another tool I would like to make myself more familiar with. I have one experience when I used this for an assessment for a social test. This allowed my student to complete their test on the computer, and I could differentiate the test to best meet the needs of the student. It allowed me to have immediate feedback to the student, whether they got the questions correct or not, and then it allowed me to have true and false questions and limit the amount of writing the student had to do. Moving forward, after learning more about assessment technologies, my goal would be to implement them more in my classroom. Another thing I would like to explore is augmented reality and how that could be incorporated in my classroom.